Deep in the unseen world, beyond what our eyes can perceive, there are nations, families, and tribes just like us. But unlike us, they are not made of clay. They are made of smokeless fire. They are the Jinn. Most Muslims know that Jinn exist, but very few know that the Jinn themselves are divided into tribes, nations, and clans, just like human beings. The Quran tells us that they are communities, some righteous, some evil, and some in between. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "The Jinn are of three types: one that has wings and flies in the air, one that takes the form of snakes and dogs, and one that moves about from place to place. But among these, certain Jinn tribes have become infamous for their evil. Their names were whispered among early Muslims, warning believers never to call on them, never to be deceived by their tricks. One of the most feared was the tribe of Ifrit. These were not ordinary Jinn. They were powerful, arrogant, and violent. The Quran itself mentions them. An Ifrit from among the Jinn said, "I will bring it to you before you rise from your place." This was no weak spirit. This was a being so strong he could transport the throne of the Queen of Sheba in the blink of an eye, and yet even the mighty Ifrit was humbled by a man whom Allah had given knowledge. Another dreaded tribe were the Gilan, shape-shifting Jinn that could terrify travelers in the deserts. They were said to appear as animals or as women to lead people astray. The Prophet, peace be upon him, told his companions, "There are no ghouls, but there are Jinn who mislead," meaning these creatures did not have ultimate power, but their deception was real. Then there were the Marada, the rebellious devils. These were the shock troops of Iblis, the ones who refused obedience and lived only to corrupt humans. Their very name comes from marid, to rebel. They were known to be obstinate, arrogant, and hard to control, even by other Jinn. But perhaps the most terrifying tribe of all was the Hin and Bin. Ancient narrations say these were nations of Jinn that lived on earth before Adam was created. They spread corruption and bloodshed until Allah sent the angels to drive them into the seas and remote places. Their memory remains like a scar in the unseen world, a reminder that not all Jinn are neutral. Some carry ancient hatred for humans, and still others, the Shayatin, the devils, are a tribe entirely dedicated to whispering, tempting, and leading people away from Allah. They are not a scattered group. They are organized, disciplined, and working in ranks. Their leader, Iblis, is their general. Their mission is singular: to drag as many of mankind into hellfire as possible. When you realize this, the unseen world becomes less like random superstition and more like a battlefield. A battlefield where we are soldiers, and the enemy is not only the weakness inside our hearts, but also the organized tribes of Jinn who seek to exploit it. And the scariest part? These Jinn tribes are not myths. They are confirmed in Hadith, hinted in Quran, and experienced by countless people across history. The Prophet, peace be upon him, himself encountered them, debated with them, and warned us of their plots. So the question is, if the Jinn are divided into tribes and some are so evil that even the angels were sent to fight them, what does that mean for us? Are we their targets? Do they see us as rivals? The answer is even more terrifying than you think. You might think the Jinn tribes live in some faraway realm, but their presence touches our world every single day. The Prophet, peace be upon him, told us that every human is accompanied by a Qareen, a personal shaitan whispering evil into his heart. Imagine that. From the moment you are born until the moment you die, a member of these evil tribes is assigned to you, watching your weaknesses, waiting for your slips. But the Jinn do not only whisper. Some tribes are infamous for their alliances with humans, magicians, and sorcerers throughout history, have sought their help. The Quran exposes this secret, and they followed what the devils had recited during the reign of Suleiman. It was not Suleiman who disbelieved, but the devils disbelieved, teaching people magic. Which devils were these? Scholars explained that it was the most rebellious tribes of the Jinn, the Marada, and the shayatin, who revealed secrets of sorcery to human magicians, teaching them spells that could break families, cause sickness, and create illusions. In return, the humans had to sacrifice loyalty to Allah and obey the jinn. This unholy alliance continues even today in dark corners of the world. The Ifrit tribe plays a terrifying role in this, known for their brute strength. They are often summoned in acts of black magic. Their arrogance is legendary, and some magicians boast of binding an Ifrit to serve them. But the truth is, no human can truly control them. Ifrits are tricksters. They pretend to serve, but in reality they enslave the magician, leading him deeper into disbelief. Then there are the Jinn, who lurk in deserts and abandoned ruins. Imagine walking at night and seeing a figure in the distance, sometimes appearing as a stranger, sometimes as a loved one. The Prophet, peace be upon him, told us not to fear them, but to remember Allah. Why? Because their only weapon is deception. They cannot harm the believer who keeps his tongue wet with dikr. Yet how many people today, empty of remembrance, fall into their traps of fear? The Marada and Shayatin are even more sinister. They move among gatherings of humans, stirring anger, sparking jealousy, igniting fights. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said that Shaitan runs through the son of Adam like blood. Think of that, invisible currents of influence, running through our emotions, our whispers, our temptations. But not all their evil is hidden. Some of their tribes openly attack. In authentic Hadith, a companion recounted how a jinn tried to steal food in the night, and when the Prophet, peace be upon him, caught him, he admitted, "The jinn eat what you eat." Another narration describes a jinn who tried to burn a companion with fire, only to be subdued by the Prophet's du'athi. This is their nature. Some are deceivers, some are whisperers, some are violent attackers, and each tribe has its own specialization in corruption. But perhaps the most chilling tribe is the ancient Jinn and Bin. Stories say they roamed the earth before mankind. They shed blood, spread chaos, and corrupted creation. The angels were sent to cleanse the earth of them, driving them into exile. But some narrations suggest remnants of them remain, bitter and vengeful, whispering from the shadows. Whether myth or memory, they remind us of an eternal truth. Jinn tribes are older than us, and they see us as intruders on their land. So what does this mean for humans today? It means that when you sin, you are not only following your desires, you might be feeding the influence of an evil jinn tribe, celebrating with them as they claim another victory. It means that when you practice sorcery, you are not empowered. You are enslaving yourself to the darkest of their nations. And it means that when you forget Allah, you leave your defenses open, allowing these ancient enemies to enter your home, your heart, your very life. But there is hope, because just as the Quran exposes their existence, it also gives us the shield against them. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "Recite Surah al-Baqarah, for the Shaitan does not enter a house in which Surah al-Baqarah is recited." Evil tribes may roam the earth, but the believer is never defenseless. So what is the real danger of these jinn tribes? It is not only their whispers, or their illusions, or even their strength. The greatest danger is that they make a believer forget Allah. Because the moment you forget Allah, your shield drops, and without protection, even the weakest of their whispers can drag a person into ruin. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "Shaitan flows through the son of Adam like blood." That does not mean he controls you, but it means his influence is constant, waiting for the moment you are heedless. That is why dhikr, remembrance of Allah, is our fortress. When you say Bismillah, you lock the door in their face. When you say Adhu Billah before entering the bathroom, you block their entry. When you recite Quran, they flee like shadows at sunrise. But when you neglect these small acts, they gather around you. That is why the Prophet, peace be upon him, taught, "Do not leave your homes empty, for the Shaitan enters an empty house. Recite Quran in them, for he flees from the house in which Surah al-Baqarah is recited." Think about this. Entire tribes of jinn, with history stretching back before mankind, with powers of invisibility and speed, with the ability to whisper into hearts and to stir nations, and yet all of them are powerless in the face of the Quran. One recitation of Ayat al-Kursi is enough to drive them away. But what happens when humans ignore the shield? Look at our world today. People chase after horoscopes, believing stars control their fate. Others seek out magicians, paying them to harm rivals or attract lovers. Some even attempt to befriend jinn, offering blood or incense in exchange for favors. These are the very alliances that the Quran warned us about. Allah said, "And there were men from mankind who sought refuge in men from the jinn, so they only increased them in burden." This verse unmasks the deception. The jinn never serve humans freely. Every deal with them only increases misery, depression, and distance from Allah. Whole tribes of jinn exist only to drag humans into these traps, laughing as they watch us enslave ourselves. And yet, many of us do not take them seriously. We mock, we joke, we say ghost stories, forgetting that Allah Himself warns us in the Quran of their existence. If Allah reveals their secrets to us, should we not be alert? But let's flip the perspective. If there are evil jinn tribes, there are also righteous ones. The Quran tells us in Surah Al-Jinn that some among them said, "We have heard a wonderful Quran, guiding to what is right, and we have believed in it." Entire tribes of jinn accepted Islam, prayed and warned their people to turn back to Allah. So do not imagine that every jinn is your enemy, but know that the evil ones, the Marada, the Ifrit, the Jailan, the whispering Shayatin, will never stop their mission of leading humans astray. So ask yourself, when the whispers come, when the anger rises, when the temptation calls, whose side will you stand on? Will you feed the laughter of the evil tribes, or will you strengthen the ranks of faith? Remember, the jinn may be unseen, but your deeds are not, and the angels are writing every choice you make.